Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. And on Wednesday evening in the early kickoff, 5:45 p.m, Chelsea head out to Russia to take on Zenit St Petersburg to conclude the Champions League group stage. Ironically, the final is also in St Petersburg, so who knows? Come May, we could be returning. But George, having done the hard work against Juventus, winning 4-0 last time out to go top of the group, how important is it now that we don't put that performance to waste and finish the job off in Russia? All we need to do is equal Juventus' result.
Yeah, it's a tough game to a tough end of the month for us. I think we've had as well documented on the channel. We've had some tough moments in other competitions, but it's almost nice in a way that we can refocus on something that's been quite positive throughout the season. And that's been our Champions League campaign. I mean, other than the away defeat to Juventus, it's been pretty strong defence of the title so far. And yeah, we just need to get that win and we finish top of the group, and that'll be the objective. And hope we can get that done early because we've got the early kickoff. But it'll be a difficult game. It's sort of, Zenit St Petersburg way is always tricky, particularly with you've got to deal with the elements and it being freezing and, like you said, the early kickoff after having that Saturday early kickoff. So yeah, it's more about the form we're in at the moment. Whether that's going to carry into the Champions League. You'd hope that it wouldn't, but a difficult end.
I mean, given the fact that our form is a little bit patchy at the moment, only 2 wins in our last 5 in the league, do you think this Champions League game maybe represents a welcome distraction?
Well, yeah, just what I've been talking about. I mean, I think sometimes it's nice to change competitions because if there's one competition we can be confident about that we've done over the last 8-9 months, it's going to be this one. I've had a fantastic run in it. Okay, we did lose 1 game in the group, but again, that was expected. And we've actually done well to turn it around, absolutely battered Juventus at home and kind of showed our real colours there and what happens to a Juventus side if they can't defend and they have to come out and attack. And yeah, Zenit, they're always tricky customers, tend to be the kind of bogey team, if you like, where teams, if you're not on it. But we've had some good results there in the past, and we need to, kind of forget about all the other business going on in and around the league and finish off on a high by finishing top of this group.
I mean, obviously, I've just brought the group up now. This game is obviously pretty much a dead rubber. Zenit have obviously taken that Europa League slot, and we're obviously fighting out for the top spot. So there's not really an awful lot to play for. I mean, is it essential we finish top of this group, George? Or if we were to ultimately come away with a point or, God forbid, lose in Zenit, obviously Juventus are probably going to beat Malmo. Is it a disaster if we don't come top of this group?
It's not a disaster, but then if you look at the draw that's to follow and you get someone really tough because of finishing second, you kick yourself because you ultimately, in any group or in any league format, you want to finish top. That's the objective, and we should be finishing top of that group. No disrespect to Juventus, but we should be, and that's what we should aspire to do. And again, it's not just about this group. It's about the momentum and closing a chapter. And if we can get a positive result and a positive performance from Russia, I think it speaks more volumes than just the result itself. Because, like you said, in isolation, it's just we've already qualified, but you can't. We don't want to end up drawing or losing, and again, then that drags into the next competition that goes back into the league form. So it all kind of transpires into one. So we do need to keep the ball rolling, and I think we do need to have a win.
Yeah, I would agree. And the fact that this puts the Champions League campaign to bed until February, you kind of want to go out on a bit of a high note until those knockout rounds resume. I know there's a lot of football to be played between now and when the Champions League picks itself back up again in the new year. But it would be nice to kind of just finish off the first part of the competition with a job well done. But obviously, we're in the midst of the notorious December fixtures. They come thick and fast. This is a kind of a trip you don't really want right in the midst of games coming every 2 to 3 days. A long haul trip to Russia. As you touched on, it's going to be bloody cold. I know Zenit have actually got a roof and a heated stadium, but yeah, it's still going to be freezing. And we've got Leeds on Saturday lunchtime. So you imagine you're not going to really arrive back to the early hours of Thursday. Probably a recovery session, a little bit of light work on the Friday, game on the Saturday. How heavily do you feel Thomas Tuchel's going to rotate? Because it's clear to me that with our injuries at the moment, we don't really want to be risking too many first teamers, but then we don't also want to be sending a complete reserve side.
Yeah, we had a chat, didn't we, last night about this, and I think you're of the opinion that we need to field a weakened team as much as possible to for those exact reasons. To we need to kind of regain some position in the league after dropping from top to third. Like you said, the game's coming thick and fast. I think that's a whole new topic in itself. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. The fixture congestion again, they haven't seemed to resolve the issue. I mean, we're playing 8-9 games in the space of a month. I think it's too much for any squad. But a lot of people have been referring to in the papers. There was quite a funny one saying that I don't know why Chelsea are complaining because they're like a Harrods hamper, Christmas hamper. I mean, they've got such a luxury squad to pick from. And I agree. I think we can't really moan too much considering, other teams are in a similar position and don't have the squad. But I agree, mate. I think it's going to have to be, unfortunately, a bit of both because with something still on the line for us in terms of top spot, I can't envisage him going too weak. But at the similar token, I do think that you're right. We do need to rest players and leave some critical players home because we don't want for them to pick up knocks also.
I mean, obviously, Leeds is the more important game this week out of the two. I think if it was a home game against Zenit, I think it's a little bit of a different conversation because you take obviously all the travel out of it. But yeah, it's going to be a fine balance to strike, and we haven't got an awful lot of options left in the squad at the moment, given the injuries we've got. Let's talk about Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, Tuchel's come out and said that he wasn't fit to play 45 minutes, and that was his responsibility, and he takes the blame for that. For me, this is the sort of game that ideally you probably wouldn't want Romelu Lukaku to be travelling for, but given the fact that he needs minutes and he needs to get back to full fitness, are we really in a position to tell him not to travel and then try and use him from the off against Leeds? I feel that he's going to have to try and play at least half an hour here. This
is where management's so tough because I can see positives to both. If Tuchel came out and said, "Look, we're not taking him. We want to rest him," and then he's got completely recovered for maybe a bigger impact against Leeds, you would understand it. Again, the same thing for Zenit. You could say he needs more minutes. We need another option in case things don't go well, and it's an opportunity, like you said, because it's essentially a dead rubber. Because we've qualified, he could get some minutes where there's no risk. But that's where management's so tough because where's the balance? I mean, what do you do? We still need to try and win the game, but you don't want to risk players, particularly someone like Lukaku who needs the time balance between rest and minutes. So I think he goes. I think he does go to crank those minutes up. But again, how much we see of him, I don't know.
I think it could be good for his confidence as well if he can come on in a game like this and perhaps score a goal. It could perhaps kickstart him again. Could be what he needs. But yeah, as I say, it does come down to fine margins and man management and squad management is so crucial at this particular time. I mean, I know we slated Saul Niguez after we saw him against Watford, but I mean, this could be another opportunity for him as well, would you say?
Well, yeah, it could be. I mean,
with no Kante, Kovacic still not fit, Jorginho with hip pain, wouldn't risk him. You're looking at it and you think, well, who is going to go there? I think it probably will be another chance for Saul Niguez. I mean, and how important is it that he actually puts in a performance?
At this stage, I don't think it's that important right now. I think he's probably one that we're going to say goodbye to from what we've seen already. I mean, for him personally, maybe it's a big game, but I agree, mate. Obviously, as fans, we want to win, but we're not fussed by this game. So you'd probably want to see Saul Niguez out of those players that you've just mentioned, rather than risking someone. So you'd probably expect him to play tomorrow.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, there's a lot of difficult decisions to be made. I mean, George, just talking on the group stage campaign as a whole, before we go into our predicted lineup. I mean, how have you felt we've kind of done in the group stage so far? Kind of as you was expected, and how do you feel we can do this season in the Champions League?
I think we've done really well. I honestly do. I think the one game that was always going to be the tough one, and we mentioned it at the very start of the campaign, was possibly the Juve home and away. That was the one where if you could get 4 points out of it, you'd be happy. We've managed to get 3, but such an emphatic home performance, it kind of took away the 1-0, where that can happen against certainly a side like Juventus who can take the lead and defend very well. I think we've done as expected. You'd expect to be around, certainly in the conversation, to finish top with the last game. The two teams that are going through, you'd say were going through. And the Champions League this season, I think we've done. It's not easy to go from winning it to then, pushing on and going again for the group. And we've looked hungry and we've looked impressive in parts of it. And yeah, I mean, obviously, it all depends on the draw now for the knockouts. But I do think we've still, if people come back at the right time and we get a bit of favour, there's not too many teams out there that I'm really concerned about in terms of, I think we could go far again.
Well, I mean, considering last time we won, we went out in the group stage. We've put up a better defence of the title than we did in 2012.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a few Chelsea fans about this. A lot of Chelsea fans are confident that we can go semi-finals, maybe even final again. I mean, you look at it, and Madrid and Barcelona aren't really what they were. Barcelona might not even get out the group.
No.
Obviously, you've got PSG, but they just don't play as a team. They defend with 7, and you can't carry 3 passengers, no matter how talented they are. Those lads are 3 passengers. You can't play like that and win a Champions League, in my opinion. And you look at it, and it's the English sides. Liverpool and Manchester City are going to be dangerous, and Bayern Munich are the only other one. So, there really is a real possibility. But we've got to kind of show that we can go to places like Zenit, and even if it is a bit of a dead rubber, still put in a performance and win, because it is hard now because fans are back in. It's going to be more of an atmosphere in the away grounds, which we didn't actually have in our run to the trophy last time. We played away legs in neutral grounds, no fans, and that could have been a help negating those difficult atmospheres away from home. So yeah, I mean, this time around will be a lot more difficult. But I mean, let's obviously move into the predicted lineup. I mean, we've done pretty well in the last couple. Got one of them spot on and then just one out at the weekend. This one could literally be anyone's guess. I mean, we could be miles out. But yeah, let's get stuck into it, mate. Goalkeeper. For me, I thought this was a shoo-in for Kepa to play, but with Mendy having made a couple of errors against West Ham, do you feel that Tuchel might want to stick with him just to give him a bit of confidence, or is this for Kepa? Given the fact we're going to need him in January and he's not played for a while. He's not played since the Carabao Cup against Southampton. He needs a few games before he comes in.
Get Petr Cech in, mate.
No, well, mate, is he still registered?
Again, this is all down to man management, isn't it? Some players prefer a little, take back, an arm around the shoulder and say, look, you can sit out this game, go away, have some time with the family, enjoy, have a break, stay at home. Others will just be, and I'm sure Mendy's probably one of these who is just itching to put that wrong right. And we had a discussion off air, didn't we? I personally don't blame him for what happened at the weekend. You're slightly a bit more. He should have done better in both. Which again, I get the point as well. So I agree. I think Mendy should play. Again, probably could come and bite me back in the arse if he makes another terrible error in a game. But I think for me, I'm just thinking on a personal viewpoint. If it was my player who made it wrong, I would want to go out there and correct it straight away. So again, we could get this wrong, but it would be Mendy in goal for me.
I mean, would you understand why I think Kepa should play, just based on the fact that kind of we're already through?
Yeah.
We're going to need it. We're going to need him for some really important games in January. He's not played since Southampton in the League Cup, as I said. There's not going to be many opportunities to play him now. Obviously, perhaps Brentford in the Cup on the in a couple of weeks' time, whenever that fixture is. That'll be probably one where he plays. But other than that, there's not many times he's going to play before he comes in for some crucial league games. And I suppose he needs that match practice, and I suppose this would be a perfect opportunity to give it to him.
Yeah, no, I can completely see your point. And Kepa's not a bad second choice goalkeeper. He was meant to come in and be a first choice goalkeeper. So we technically got 2 number ones. I've started to trust Kepa a little bit more, the PK specialist. And it is a good opportunity for him. And I think Chelsea are no weaker with him in the side. I just feel, well, it is a tough one to call. I think it's all down to man management, how Tuchel wants to run his dressing room. So if Mendy's not playing, you've understood why, and similar for Kepa.
Oh, mate, I'm going to go for it. I think Kepa is going to play. I think Kepa is going to play, and I do think we need to keep him sharp. It's not like outfield players. Goalkeepers, like obviously very specialist. There's not an awful lot of rotation, and we know he's coming in some big games in January, particularly Liverpool and Manchester City. we need him to be sharp and have some minutes under the belt. So that's kind of why I think it might just tip in his favour. I mean, we could be completely wrong. George, back three. For me, no Thiago Silva, definitely not. Not even worth him making the trip as far as I'm concerned. Would you agree on that?
I don't know the circumstances with Thiago Silva, but I know he's played obviously he's played a lot of games, but he's been very influential in those games. I mean, even when we lost at the weekend, he still managed to score another off the line clearance. Tough one for me, but again, I don't think you necessarily need to take the risk. I think you've got to manage his minutes with his age, and we don't need to win this game. So why would you play him?
Mate, this could be a bit of a. Do you think we could see someone like Malang Sarr in the back three?
Yeah, I was going to put Saul in there. I really do think he'll start tomorrow, and that's just my opinion.
I mean, well, given the fact that we're probably going to rest Thiago Silva, Chalobah's still injured. I imagine Rudiger will probably play.
I think it'll be Aspi, Saul.
You think Aspi's not going to play at right wing back?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying Aspi will be. I think Aspi.
Right, yeah. So we got one side of the back three. We've got Saul.
Yeah.
Other two areas, George. Do we feel that Rudiger's going to play again? He seems to play all the time, but he's fit. I think he'll go in.
Yeah.
Rudiger, and then to round out that back three, do we think Andreas Christensen again, or have you got perhaps someone else you think might play there? Do you think maybe Azpilicueta? Although I'd probably be more inclined to play him at wing back.
Yeah. So I was between the two. I was either going to play Sarr in the middle, Azpilicueta on the right of the three, and then James as a right wing back. I don't know which way he'll go, but I suspect he'll probably put Azpilicueta right wing back and stick with Christensen, because Christensen has been in and out.
Yeah, so he hasn't played a lot recently, so I think go Christensen. But then I equally wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is why these games are so hard to pick a lineup. I equally wouldn't be surprised, mate, if we saw Aspie in that back three and it ended up being Callum Hudson-Odoi playing right wing back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's options there. This is a hard one to call, so we're not going to say that we're going to get it close. But
right wing back would we be both right in thinking that Reece James should be rested for this game, given the fact that he missed Watford with his bit of a knock, played against West Ham. We need him raring to go for Leeds. I mean, there's not really much point risking him, given we've got other players that can fill in there for this game. So yeah, Reece James to not feature.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's a sensible decision. It's difficult because Tuchel wants to win matches, and James is one of our biggest assets. So you're starting to run the danger of not trying to win a football match and picking your best team. But we've had so many things like this where we've played. I mean, look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek's injury in a pointless game a year ago. So I think any pointless games, and I'm not saying it's pointless, but we don't need to win. I think you rest him. Simple as that.
Yeah. And we're thinking we're both up for Azpilicueta there. Do you think that'll be the shout? Yeah. Mate, moving to the left-hand side. This is a little bit more difficult now because obviously Marcos Alonso is really the only choice we've got there. But I mean, I know he's not played a lot of football recently, come in for the last couple of games. Do we feel he's going to play again just to get some more minutes under the belt? Or do you feel that we could see something a little bit curveball, maybe a Hudson-Odoi or a Christian Pulisic even?
I mean, if you're going to throw in a curveball, this would be the game to do it. But I think, again, Alonso has spent quite a lot of time on the bench. I know he's played a lot of matches consecutively, but if he was a first choice left back, he'd be playing this game anyway. So I feel Alonso will be playing again. But again, it's a risk. If Alonso gets injured, then what do we do? You'll be kicking yourself if Alonso gets injured in a game like this. So for me, Alonso plays, but again, I agree. I could see a possible curveball coming in here.
Mate, I'm just gonna put another curveball in there. Do you think this could be an opportunity where we may see Saul Niguez left wing back tried out?
Bloody hell, that is a curveball. No, not for me, but
not for you, no.
I agree, mate. This is a tough position because he did look a bit exhausted at the weekend already.
Well, he come off with a bit of back pain, didn't he? I don't know. Obviously, Tuchel's doing his presser tomorrow. I mean, I've not heard anything to suggest that Alonso is injured and going to miss this game. So, I mean, let's put him in. But again, this is a tough one to call. Equally, wouldn't be surprised to see Callum Hudson-Odoi there. Yeah. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw Saul Niguez there potentially as well. I mean, that's a little bit more unlikely, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. Moving on to the midfield too, George. Obviously, this is an area where we struggle with injuries a lot. Kovacic, good news, he's back in training, but he's obviously not going to make this game.
No.
I believe Kante's still going to be missing. Obviously, Tuchel's not officially confirmed that in his presser, but after West Ham, he said he didn't know when Kante was going to be back, so it would suggest he's going to miss this game. Yeah. Jorginho has been confirmed that he's been playing with hip pain recently in the last few games. This is a game that we don't need him in, so we shouldn't be risking him there. That literally then leaves us, mate, with Ruben and Saul Niguez. Are we expecting to see those two again, or do you feel we could do something a bit different? Maybe put a Mason Mount in a midfield too. But again, I was going to suggest that he's probably a player that we don't need to be taking or using on this trip.
Yeah, it's such a tough one, isn't it? I think Saul plays in some avenue. So I didn't think left back, so he would be in one of my middle two.
Yeah, let's get him in.
Ruben, again, hasn't played a lot of games because he's just come back recently and he has started to play regular. But I mean, he's had a lot of time off as well. And he was one of the better players, even though he did give away the ball a lot at the weekend. I thought he was a bit more explosive at the weekend. Tough one. I personally think Mason will play, but
would you take Mount though? Like, I just don't think we need to be playing Mount in a game like this.
It's tough, mate, because I think if Tuchel looks at it, we do still need to kind of win the game because we want to win the group.
Oh, yeah, because we know that Juventus are going to obviously beat Malmo. They've got to equal Juventus's result. So
so I don't think he's that naive to think, well, let's just sack off everyone in the team to rest. Because if it goes wrong, there'll be a lot of pressure under him to be like, well, you kind of messed up that group there by just being a bit naive. Tough one. I'd probably play Ruben, but
yeah, I can't really see any other options. I mean, we're obviously presuming that he's going to play this 3-4-3. Maybe don't completely rule out we might see a 3-5-2, but I don't know. Maybe Mount as an extra midfielder in there with two up top. I'm not really sure, but
yeah,
I mean that midfield too. I mean, obviously, I think Zenit are probably a bit better than Watford as well. I would imagine, but yeah, it's not that midfield pivot doesn't sort of. It's not great when you look at it on paper. They don't complement each other well at all. No. I think Ruben plays so much better when he's got a Jorginho or a Kante alongside him, and Saul Niguez just. I mean, this is another opportunity for him. I do feel a bit sorry for him really because he's not played a lot of football. Obviously, come off at half-time in his debut, come off at half-time against Watford where he was poor. It was okay against Southampton in the League Cup, but I guess this is perhaps another opportunity for him sooner than he was expecting. And I would be very surprised if Saul Niguez didn't start this game, given the fact that Jorginho's got hip pain and Kovacic and Kante are both missing. So
yeah,
we'll go with that as a midfield too. The front three, this is tough to pick at the best of times. I personally feel that this is a game where we'll see Timo Werner start, whether that's through the middle or down one side. Would you agree that it's a good game for Timo to play?
Yeah, perfect. Away from home. I know Zenit is a bit of a dead rubber, but they want to win. You'll probably get a lot more space in behind. European night, eager to get going. So I think Werner will play. Yeah, just depends if he's going to play from the front or on the left.
Would you play him down the middle or to one side? I mean, or maybe it'd just be fluid.
I'm not sure.
Because obviously he was poor against Man United when he played down the middle. But I mean, Zenit will play a low block as well. But I mean, it might be a little bit easier to get a bit of space in behind, given they haven't got the same quality of players.
Well, I don't think Lukaku's going to start.
No, I'd be very surprised. I mean, obviously, we haven't heard Tuchel's presser. That's obviously going to be tomorrow. But given the fact he said he wasn't fit enough to play 45 minutes, I'd be surprised if he's gained enough fitness from Saturday lunchtime to Wednesday evening to suddenly be able to play an hour.
So unless you're going another false nine, it has to be Werner because he's the only other.
Yeah, but let's mate, how obviously Werner has had his struggles again this season. Given the fact we feel he is going to get the opportunity, how important is it that for him and for his season, maybe even his Chelsea career, that he actually puts in a decent performance and finds the back of the net.
Yeah, he's probably one of those in the squad that Tuchel likes because he can rely on him to do certain things, but what he can't rely on him to do is score goals, and that's ultimately what we bought him for. So, yeah, it is really important for him to start getting the numbers now. But every time he plays, I don't think Tuchel has that much, and neither did Frank, to be fair. I think he does a lot of good things that people overlook, but I agree. Particularly when Lukaku's back, he'll be the first name on the team sheet, and that leaves... with Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi getting better, and even Hakim now, I think he's struggling to find his place in this squad, and he's running out of time to really prove why he's here. So it is difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult, but he has to start stepping up now. I think it's
I like what he does, though. I do like what he does.
Well, I mean, ideally, we need someone that does what Werner does, but can actually put it in the net.
Well, that's Erling Haaland, really, isn't it? That's
to be honest, though, but I think we've got to be realistic. I mean, people praise Werner for his work rate. You shouldn't be praised for your work rate when you're a £50 million centre forward. That's part of the package. Being praised for working hard as a footballer, that's just a basic thing you do. So I get confused when people praise his work rate and he works hard off the ball. That's what you're meant to do as a footballer. You need to work hard on and off the ball.
You'll be surprised how many people don't do that.
Yeah, you would be surprised. But I think to give praise for that I'm not sure. I agree with that. I understand that he does good things off the balls, makes good runs and stuff. But ultimately, as we've touched on, he's in this. He was bought to score goals. And he just hasn't done that. And he's 18 months into his Chelsea career now. And for me, the biggest worry is the fact that he doesn't look like improving. It doesn't look like that a 15, 20 goal season is round the corner. If he stays at Chelsea for another 2 years, I feel we could be sat here in 2 years, mate, having the same conversation.
Yeah, perhaps. And maybe it's the system that doesn't suit him. Maybe it's maybe he just hasn't adapted well to the physicality of the Premier League. But I think on the European nights, this, like you said, this is a good opportunity for him where there's nothing really on the line. The pressure's off. The only pressure he's got tomorrow is his own performance, not necessarily the team. So I think this could be a good opportunity for him to showcase. It probably won't have any bearing on what happens in the selections to follow. But all he can do is try and do his best and score goals. And he's definitely got an opportunity tomorrow if he plays.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, the other two positions, this is a tough one, really, because, do we think Hakim Ziyech is gonna keep his place, have another start? I personally would start Ziyech. I think he's in good form, and I feel he's a confidence player. So the fact that he's had a good run, I think we just need to keep playing him. And this would be an opportunity again for him to perhaps notch up a goal or an assist and put in a good performance. I mean, would you be up for starting him?
Yeah, I echo exactly what you said. I think he's a confidence player, and I think to drop him in a period where he's doing very well, got the assist at the weekend, looking sharp, finally getting back to that what we saw in pre-season. And again, he hasn't played a lot of games because of the injury he had at the start of the season, so he's got gas to burn. So I think he should play as well. And then, yeah.
The other side is tough though, because then you're basically looking at it, and you've got Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, and Mason Mount to go for that third slot. Obviously Kai Havertz, we feel, Tuchel said he was in a lot of pain. We haven't had an injury update yet. I'm sure we'll get that in the press tomorrow. But I'd be very surprised if Havertz was fit to start or play a part in this game. But yeah, I mean that George, that left hand side. What are you thinking? Mount, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi.
I think Hudson-Odoi. I think that if I'm right, that's the one selection we got wrong. We thought he was going to start, and he didn't. So I think that he's had a couple of games where he hasn't started now since the United game, and I think he's got a good opportunity here to get back into the squad, back into the first starting 11. And if we're going by the theory that Mount's not playing, then or he's not being taken or whatever, then
I don't think he'll start.
Yeah, then I think if he's not starting and he's not starting in our starting 11, so I think that only leaves really Pulisic or Hudson, and I think this would be a good opportunity now after Pulisic's played a couple of games for Hudson to come back in.
Yeah, and I think also, to be fair, Pulisic, when he's been given his opportunities, hasn't really taken them. I don't think he took it against Juventus in a false nine position. He was poor against Watford, and he offered very little when he came off the bench against West Ham. So I don't really feel he's put in a level of performance that he deserves to start over Callum. So I guess to finish off our lineup, mate, we're going to go Hudson-Odoi there. But I mean, to be honest, mate, we could have 4 or 5 positions in this just completely wrong.
Oh, mate, this is a hard one to call because, like you said, it's the don't have to win. So it's how Tuchel wants to play it, and we'll probably know more about Tuchel once we know the lineup and how he approaches these types of games.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, obviously, Leeds, as I've said, is the priority this week. But obviously, then your next game's your most important games. I don't think we can be sort of disregarding this fixture and just looking ahead to Leeds. We do need to obviously take this game seriously. We don't want to lose, given the fact that we're coming off the back of a defeat on the weekend. But I mean, George, looking at that lineup there that we've picked, that obviously is more than good enough to go to Zenit and get a win, isn't it?
Mate, it's the Harrow temper. It's the we have got, and I know people might disagree, but we have probably got the best squad in Europe other than Manchester City, I'd say. And that's proof in the pudding there. You've got, over a £70 million goalkeeper coming on who hasn't even kicked a ball hardly. Players like Hudson-Odoi, Hakim Ziyech, they were European. I mean, Hakim Ziyech was playing phenomenal football in Europe a couple of years ago. So I'm happy with the team if that is the team. I think we've got more than enough to beat Zenit. There's just that question mark over these lacking performances starting to lag, and because of the fitness and Christmas, and it's difficult with all the games, congestion, and we just need a type of Juventus performance. I only wish that game against Juventus was our last group game. We need something to finish us off strong. We don't want to leak sloppy goals. Definitely don't want to finish. Feeling second, even though we qualify, would feel a bit of a disappointment considering the work we've done in this group. So we need to start this week positive because of the result that happened at the weekend, and go into the game against Leeds, which is, like you said, the most important, and start winning games again.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. Leeds is the most important game, given 2 wins in 5 in the league. We've got to get back to winning ways in the league, but we also just need to get back to winning ways in general. So this is the first opportunity to do that. So we must take it. That's just myself and George's thoughts. Also, if you've given our predicted lineup, let us know your thoughts if you think, if you do anything different. This is obviously a really tough one to predict, so not expecting us to get too many right here. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you were watching live, if you are going to watch it back, hope you enjoy it. Guys, make sure you do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. We're now 19 from 200, so let's hit that 200 mark by Christmas. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, just click the subscribe button. Won't take you long, so just please do that for us. We really appreciate it. And let's hope that Chelsea can head to Russia, finish the job off, and then get back to winning ways in the Premier League against Leeds. But yeah, guys, we'll catch you in the Zenit review in a couple of days' time. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.